Hi, hello Tauruses. Welcome to my channel. I'm Bella. Thanks so very much for choosing me to give you your love forecast for March 2017. And how I work is I work with my spirit guides, so it's them kind of conveying the key themes and messages and insight for um, this month. And if you do like what I have to say, do like, do share, do subscribe, do comment. I'd love to hear what it is you have to say. So, Tauruses, to start off, in your first week, in how my guides show it to me, change, my guides say. Wanting change, needing change, expecting change, but not either receiving change, not seeing somebody change, or you not knowing how to change your circumstances when it comes to love. I feel that you all just feel a bit discombobulated in terms of, I don't know, this feels like a bit of a lack, but it's definitely much more in terms of a descriptiveness when it comes to you desiring change, basically. And they're saying here you have some options, but I feel because you have maybe too many options in your mind and which path do I go down, that actually that having too manyness makes it indecisive for you. But I feel greatly there's an expectation that you're expecting somebody else or your circumstances if you're single to change, and it not quite working out that way. Feels to me, for those who have an expectation of somebody else sort of changing and you're not necessarily seeing their efforts, feels that they will a little bit later, but for now in that week doesn't feel good. Now, just to say, it feels to me that because of that sort of too much clutter and too much of needing that change or feeling disappointed by somebody else's energy not necessarily changing, and you there sitting there kind of having some choice, that actually it feels to me that it can lead, and it will lead to you perhaps having an emotional month. Now, emotional month doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a bad month, but it just seems to indicate very early on in this reading that there is some highs and lows, I would say, when it comes to the emotions that you may feel. One, because of some indecisiveness of you, or the indecisiveness of the inability of somebody transforming and change from somebody else's energy, basically. I would say here, I don't think there's too much you being able to move past that too much in that week. I think just be self-aware that kind of tension in terms of you not feeling that you can change something either within you or somebody else in the connection, or change the fact that you're single, or change the fact that somebody else hasn't changed. Almost need to accept that so that it doesn't impact you too deeply on an emotional level. I think just accepting that week that the energy that's about means that it is a bit sticky, that things are not shifting and moving, or your expectations haven't shifted or moved, and that for that time there's not too much you can do about it other than acknowledge that you're stuck a little bit. Might help the ride a little bit more easier. In the second week, there's a couple of things, because they're saying here that a connection around you, so particularly if you're in a new connection or established, the other person seems to have very, very deep feelings for you, but are very much are keeping it to themselves. And so I can understand the frustration about any lack of change, particularly if you're expecting it for somebody else. It's like they're holding it into themselves a little bit on purpose, like almost guarding their own feelings. So I've seen this before. Sometimes it can be that they don't trust that they are lovable, or they believe that if they give more, you may hurt them. So actually, I'm going to hold on to my own heart and only give you so much, because I do have feelings for you, but I have to keep them here and to myself, because what happens if I do that and you suddenly grow another head or hurt me? So there is the energy of somebody else around you who, in a way, knows they need to change, knows they need to offer more, but somehow just is very guarded and holding on to it because of their own insecurities about what you may do. And I guess because of the first week, for those of you who have feeling that kind of out of place, that they're actually seeing that from you, because of you not knowing whether you should be in this or out, or what it is that needs to change, or have an expectation. I think actually for that other person, they realise they have to make a shift and change, but they're just too afraid to do it. For some of you Tauruses, actually, this is about you then suddenly becoming quite protective about your feelings and you acting in that way and saying, okay, I can't, they're not changing, so I need to change. But instead of you changing in a healthy way, it feels to me that you change where you are. Again, you're doing that very thing of guarding yourself and saying, right, until they change, I'm just not going to give. I'm only going to give them this much because I just don't feel good. I think the danger, whether it's you or the other person doing that, is actually what you're doing is you're bottling up something that's going to come out in the end. You know, whether it's through tears or whether it's through anger. Nobody can suppress things for that long. Not really. So just be mindful about what you're doing to yourself by doing that, because that's not the best way by how it's being shown about affecting the change that is needed for you to feel better, that you are getting more out of the connection. And that's the same for if you're single. You may be deciding, nope, I'm not going to date anymore. I'm going to keep myself in a box room. I don't want a relationship anymore. They're too hurtful. Is that really serving you? Maybe for that week, maybe, but in the long term, we all want to have a connection with people, and we all want love. You feel differently about it. I think it's definitely showing up as a feeling for that week. As we get to the third week, I would definitely say here, and I would say here, there's definitely an astrological shift by the way that my guides are showing things. And I do know around mid-March, we come from a very accelerated energy to things a little bit more settled. But they're saying here, all of that processing, which is very, very thought-based in the first couple of weeks, thoughts and feeling-based, shifts. So your way of thinking about the world shifts. And for those of you who know me very, very well, the whole law of attraction thing, what we worry about, what we think about, we create, what we focus on, positive or negative, we manifest. So I think there's a bit more of a realization with you that actually your indecision or your lack or you're holding on to or you watching somebody else not transform and how that impacts you, that you need to reframe it very differently. You need to think about it very differently in a much more positive way. And so you do. Because the other way is not serving you, it's actually making you miserable. So you have a better optimistic kind of view of the direction of your relationship or your singledom. Feels to me you start creating options for yourself. You're not so reliant on the other person to change. So basically what you start to do from the second week where you were doing it perhaps in a negative way or watching somebody else do it in a negative way, that you're now doing, you're taking positive action. You're trying to be a solution focused. So if you're single, you'll start to date, but you'll do it in a different way and you'll give yourself different options and you'll try different people out. So you won't stick to the same format of a person that you went for. You may go for a different look of the type of person, just to mix it up, just to see and test whether difference is good for you. And that would be the same if you're an established connection. It feels to me that something different needs to give. And if that other person doesn't change, then you have to change, even if it includes walking away. Or you just being different excites them. They can feel the trust, particularly for those where you're in a connection where actually they're holding on. It feels to me that if you just get on with things and it is about you and you framing things different in your mind, that they catch up, basically. They start to feel safe too. Because all of that kind of energy that you had in the first couple of weeks doesn't serve either one of you to move forward. So something has to break. So there's a lot more optimism. And for some of you, a little bit more selfishness in terms of, okay, well, I'm going to change, me. And that's fine. In the fourth week, you're having a bit of a like an up and down month, Tauruses, I have to say. In the last week, I feel most of you feel very content with your reframing of things in your mind, that you are changing things for yourself for the better. And like I said, anybody that's in and around your life sort of catches up with you. They feel a bit more secure as well. But for some of you, you really would have made a profound change and you would have said, you know what, I'm not dating that person anymore. Nope. You know, I'm done with people being indecisive. You know, I made a decision when I went into this year that I wanted this type of connection when it comes to romance. And despite that, if you're letting go of a situation, that makes you feel sad, because whenever we let go of any kind of connection, it makes us feel sad. Unless it's a horrible one, then we feel happy. But it just feels to me that there's more like melancholiness at the end of the month in terms of you going, well, okay, that didn't work out. But knowing intuitively that you made the right decision. So in a way, it's not depression, it's more like it's just sad that they didn't work out. But I actually feel better because I can now look at things about me and the direction that I go and the positivity, and it means I have the world's my oyster again. I can kind of make decisions and choices basically. But it's sad, any kind of connection, if we choose to end it, is sad. I'm not saying that that's going to happen for all Tauruses, but some of you would have made that decision. And for others, where actually that person did catch up with them and you're both making better decisions, you are noticing there has to be a change and they followed you along, it just feels here that you just feel a bit emotionally grateful that that's happened. That it was sad to have to go through that process to get there and to have to look at them in that kind of way, but you're grateful that you have been able to look at things in a much more positive way, because when you do, you manifest your desires. You get aligned to them. The universe starts to give you exactly what you need. So I think the reading overall and the message overall for my guides is about how you think about your relationship, to change your thoughts, and if you can't change your thoughts, then change your practical circumstances so that you can have a happier time when it comes to love. So I do hope that's resonated and helped those of you and given you some insight for the month of March. It's been a real pleasure. Again, if you like this, do like, share, subscribe and comment. And it's been my pleasure again to give you this reading today. Do have a fabulous March. Take care. Bye.